Hello and welcome back to the Absolute Football Podcast. You're with your hosts Louis Perrin and Tom Davis. Back again.
Back at it again.
Much quicker than the last episode. The last episode went out very late, which means that you've probably had about 4 days in between the last episode and this episode.
Yeah, if that.
And the last episode was 2 hours long. So if you hadn't had enough of us by now, you definitely will after this one as well. We got into a bit of a rant last time, didn't we?
Yeah, well, I think it was justified, to be honest.
I agree.
And
I agree.
I'll be honest, I after this weekend, again, as a Chelsea fan, there's a good chance that there's going to be some more ranting, I'm going to be honest with you.
Yeah, I agree. I think not just being a Chelsea fan, I think being a football fan in general, which should give a bit of a highlight as to what, not a highlight, a clue as to what my stinker of the week is. But anyway, we'll get onto that in a bit. Yeah. Speaking of highlights, which was an accidental mess up, but yeah, we'll leave that in as a nice transition. What was your highlight of the week?
Mine's a little bit different this week.
Is it not Everton? Are you sure it's not Everton?
For a start, it's not Everton, no. It's just football in general, as in like the Premier League. It's got
absolutely mad. Mine is the Premier League. Yeah.
It's ridiculous. I think it's mainly because we're in a fantasy football league that you realise that all the top players aren't doing what they should be doing. Like, why is Son going off half time getting injured? Raul Jimenez scoring an own goal last night. I've got the results up in front of me now and looking through it. That Chelsea West Brom game, which we'll go into later. Man City losing 5-2 at home. First time Guardiola's ever conceded 5. And if anybody dares tell me they thought West Ham would beat Wolves 4-0, they're just lying for a start. 97th minute equalisers. We've got Brighton getting robbed, hitting the woodwork the most times in Premier League history. I mean,
Tottenham getting robbed.
Yeah, the 8 games that we've had so far. What, 86th minute winner from Leeds. Penalty decisions, which I know you're definitely going to get involved in. But I think that's possibly the best first 8 games in a game week in God knows how long. It was just ridiculous. Every game, just something else.
Word for word, my highlight says Premier League in general. 3 games in, what a season.
Yeah.
Feels special. Anyone can beat anyone. Now, I don't know if you remember, but in the second episode, I said there's something about this season that just has a feeling to it. Yeah. It just has a feeling to it. I don't know what it is, but it feels like it's going to be special. And it hasn't let that down so far. I've never seen anything like it. I am so happy that football is back this season. I don't think I've been this excited for a season. I don't know if it's the podcast. I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's because we're talking about it more. I just think I've never been this gripped by a season in so long. Usually because Arsenal are out of the Champions League race by now.
Yeah.
three games in. But I've never been this gripped by a season in the last 5, 6, 7 seasons maybe.
Yeah, and I came into it full of hope and assuming Chelsea were going to do some good things. It was always the caveat of us not maybe gelling well, which I think a lot of people it's always going to be expected. But it's just ridiculous every game. And I mean, Brighton didn't only deserve to win; they deserved to win by a country mile against United.
They were brilliant.
They were brilliant. Park. It wasn't close. Same with Leicester. I know they played them on the break a bit, but they just outdid them.
But
tactical masterclass.
I mean, there's 2 things with that. So the Brighton one, I felt really sorry for them. I thought they were fantastic, and I thought Ollie really got away with it. I mean, I'll get onto it later, and I will, right?
Yeah,
but there's a few things I'm not happy about that, right? But what I would say is that very, very valid point, and Bruno Fernandes said it in his post-match interview. Where they said, look, Brighton hit the woodwork 5 times in the game, and he said the job of football is not to hit the woodwork.
Yeah.
The job of football is to score penalties. No, he didn't say that. He said the job of football is to score goals, right? He said you've got to hit the back of the net. It's not about hitting the post or the crossbar, which is valid, right? But in terms of general play, I thought Brighton, if you looked at them, they looked like a far better coach team than United, which, we said it in our last episode, is not surprising now.
No.
Most managers in the Premier League are a better manager than Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. So, yeah, there we are.
Yeah.
And then what was the second one? You said Man City.
City, Leicester,
and Rodri was complaining, saying, Leicester came. But I mean, I'm sorry, that's a style of football. 1, you're allowed to play, and 2, they didn't. All right, that's nonsense. They didn't park, 10 men behind the ball and then hit them on the break whenever. That's not. It was much more of a footballing display than people are trying to make out that it was. Leicester played them off the park. Simple as that.
Yeah. Yeah, and Mendy came out after the game as well, I think it was for French TV, saying that as Man City we need to learn how to play against teams who do this to us because it happens too often. I was then thinking about it, that you're 4 years in, Guardiola's been there for 4 years, and once this, what's his name, is it Diaz? Garcia? Something like that from Benfica they're about to sign. Then you
Ruben Diaz. Yeah.
Ruben Diaz, yeah. After that, they'll have spent 400 million since Guardiola arrived on defenders.
400 million on
just defenders.
On defenders.
Just defenders, nothing else. 400 mil in 4 years. 100 million a season on defenders, and they conceded 5 at home.
It's incredible.
I mean,
it's incredible. And look, they've got injuries. We know that.
Yeah, but if you've got 400 million, you can have backups. You've got to have backups with 400 million. I know they haven't got all those players now, but still, there's a lot of talent there. You've got to be keeping it. I mean, they took Fernandinho off after 50 minutes when they were, I think it was 1-0. I was like, oh, they're going to try and change something with it. So that's got to go down to Guardiola. It was shocking.
I think that's the thing. I think it has got to go down to Guardiola. And the one thing I would say is that I've seen a lot of memes saying that, he's probably missing Arteta and all of this sort of stuff.
Yeah.
The one thing I would say about Arteta at Arsenal is that, yes, he tries to play attacking football, equally notices that we're not good enough to go out and dominate most teams. Okay, as a squad, we don't have the talent. So he does play winning football, which is that but it's all got an identity. It's not like Unai Emery where he's going, be pragmatic on the pitch and change your approach as you need to. It is that, but it's actually that with a direction. So all the players are in it together. They know the message clearly. When they have to sit in, they all sit in. They know their roles. They know what they're doing. It's so well coached. The thing about Guardiola is that he wants to, and it was the frustrating thing with Wenger at times, is that he always wants to go for the extra goal. You're 1-0 up in the 92nd minute, and rather than you're in the corner, just hold the ball, it was no, play, attack, go and try and score another goal. Yeah. And then you'd lose the ball, they'd nick it, they go at the other end and equalise, or you'd lose or whatever. And it's like Guardiola wants to win by just constantly attacking. Now, it does prove successful most of the time, but you've got to have that, flexibility in your approach to say, okay, we're doing well here, we're 1-0 up. Now we're against a fantastic counter-attacking team. We don't need to score anymore. Yeah. We don't need to. We're up 1-0 up in the game. Let's now pick our moments and counter-attack them. Because Leicester are not good at defending a counter-attack.
Yeah,
simple as.
I think it's the episode that never went out where we got pretty heated about Mourinho and Pep. And it was more about the Lyon stuff with the Champions League that he's trying to sort of overmanage himself to try and get headlines almost. I don't get it. Like I just can't see what they don't have a plan B, obviously, and he's obviously not very good at signing defenders because he's picking these attacking defenders. He's not picking defenders who can defend. Even Nathan Ake is he's a bit of a ball playing centre half. Realistically, he's gonna score a few from corners. They haven't got, which I was screaming out for last season, for Chelsea to just buy a defender. I don't care how good they are at the back in terms of passing. Just buy someone who can defend. I don't want anything else. Azpilicueta, he's not the best going forward, but he's a great defender. Has been for
fantastic
the last decade, one-on-one.
Mm-hmm.
It's why teams are going so far away from having defenders just defend. It's their first job. It's just ridiculous. You wouldn't sign a
honestly.
Forward
you're every single Arsenal fan. You're every single Arsenal fan for the last 10 years.
Yeah, I just don't get
because
it. Because
all Wenger tried to do was just buy ball-playing centre-backs. Just buy someone who can bloody defend. Yeah, exactly. No, I know.
So, but rather than flipping it on, it's crazy season. And teams now might start leaving their managers at home on Zoom to manage their teams after David Moyes.
Well, funny enough, actually, the two things that we've spoken about then, so... in terms of star of the week, I didn't have to look any further than Jamie Vardy for mine.
Yeah.
I don't know what you've gone with, but
I got exactly the same.
Something different. But
no, we're being pretty boring this week. We've gone exactly the
same. Well, I mean, to be fair though, my honourable mention was West Ham, and I don't know how much of that was down to David Moyes not being there, but And funny enough, in the last episode, we were only talking about how much we rate Bowen as a player. And he scored 2 really good goals. But the whole team just looked very well. I don't know if it was the shackles were off. I don't know if it was that they actually preferred Moyes not being there. I don't know if it was a message from them to say, let us just go out and play. But they looked a completely different side. It was almost as if, it wasn't a David Moyes side.
No, not at all.
It's not the first time it's happened, though, in football history.
Do you mean?
Like the managers are sort of stadium ban or, get left at home or they're not well or whatever, then
I think
the team goes out and
couple
performs better than they have in months. Yeah.
Yeah, I know there's been a couple they've done it over the phone almost, where somebody's rang up and said, make these transfers when they've been watching the football. But I'm just trying to look at the team now and see if there's anything different, but there isn't really. When you look at it,
No. Have you actually heard of the story of Jose Mourinho when he was at Porto? And because he had that much of an influence, particularly on that team, that was a young, fresh, hungry, enthusiastic Jose Mourinho. He had that much of an influence on a team that when he was banned from the stadium, and the kit man snuck him in under like all the players' kits and towels at half time in like a laundry basket and wheeled him in to the dressing room so he could get out and give a team talk and then get back in and got wheeled off. Incredible.
Awesome. Love that. But yeah, Jamie Vardy, I think, has to be everyone's highlight because I was looking at his stats and everyone talks about the best strikers who ever played in the Premier League and it is always the same names who come up. He got to, I think stats where he got to 100 goals, 40 or 50 games quicker than Drogba. He's now 33. By this point, Henry was playing for New York Red Bulls. I don't know he didn't play his first Premier League game until he was 26, 27? And it's just relentless.
Yeah, funny enough, actually, it's like we've done the same prep for this because I've got the exact same stats in front of me. He didn't play in the Premier League until he was 27.
27. And he scored it. Now what's he on now? So it was 100 goals last year. He was on 99 for a while, wasn't he? So 107, something like that.
He's on 108. Yeah, 108. He's the 24th top Premier League top scorer of all time.
Yeah, and you can't see him not doing another 15, 20 goals a season. The way they've started, there's no reason he wouldn't. Okay, I know he's scoring penalties, but was it his second? The little flick. Oh
my God! It was like reminded me of the goal against Germany. For England.
And you look at his highlight reel, and he's like that goal against Liverpool he scored the season they won the league. From like on the right wing, hits that volley, and it's like just so many good goals. Imagine, everyone talks about Kane and is he going to beat Alan Shearer's record? Surely, Jamie Vardy would have if he'd have been.
Oh, if he'd have played his whole career, yeah. I mean, how can you be the 24th top scorer in the Premier League of all time when you didn't play your first game until you're 27? He's 34 in January.
Bear in mind that first season, I'm never going to forget it. I text you when the England squad got announced and he'd scored 5 goals that season. And I was fuming. I couldn't have been angrier that they'd picked him. I was like, what a joke. He's come up with it. Because it was the first season in the Premier League as well. He'd scored 5 goals. And I was like, how is he in the England squad? It's an absolute joke. Charlie Austin's the best striker. I remember
when he got subbed. Yes, I was just about to say when he got subbed on against, I think it was Scotland, we both text each other going, how on earth is he coming on and Charlie Austin's still on the bench?
Shows why we aren't managing England, doesn't it? Yeah. But yeah, so it's he's just gold, isn't he? Premier League gold. He's got to go down.
Do you know what he has as well? He has a talent that I've never seen before, which is that he might be the best player at winning penalties I've ever seen in my life.
And getting away with it consistently.
He actually has an art form at how he does it. He wins penalties, makes them look so realistic. He knows the contact's coming, and a lot of players know the contact's coming, go down theatrically. He goes down theatrically, but
makes it
legitimately.
Natural. Yeah.
The
second one looks soft.
And I think the first one looks soft, to be honest with you. But none of the players complained. No. Because the defenders know they make contact. The referees know they've made contact. Vardy knows they've made contact. The way he does it, I've never seen anything quite like it. I've seen players be geniuses with how they finish, like Messi, brought in the whole sort of chip shot and even chipping it over the keeper and then hitting it again before it goes in the net.
Yeah.
That sort of thing that you go, God, that's unique. I've never seen that before. Vardy almost has that with the way he wins penalties. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it before. I've seen players be good at drawing contact, Grealish, Hazard, in the box. And in terms of timing that run to get on the wrong side of the defender, he does it at just the right moment. They go for the ball every single time
because he's so quick.
But there's loads of players who are quick.
He's that weird quick though. It's not. So like, I don't think the acceleration that he has over a first 5 to 10 yards is like nothing. I don't think the Premier League has seen when they've got end product as well. So he's getting in front of players, knowing where he needs to be, and getting there that half a yard before everybody else, so that before players have time to react, he's read the game to get there already. It's brilliant intelligence, and he's quick enough to actually get there. So he's already outthinking the defenders, and then he's got the pace to get there before they even know what they're doing. So they've turned around, and he's there, and he's already kicked them. It's just fantastic.
It's the football brain thing for me. It's the understanding of the game. That's what I've never seen before. Pace like that, players usually have pace like that, and that gets them by. Or they have pace like that, and they focus on then their dribbling and things like that. I've never seen anyone focus on the art form, and I don't know if he does, but he must do. Or he's just got an incredible natural understanding for the game, because that art form, I've never seen it. I can't think of another player in the Premier League who was that good at winning penalties. Didn't he win 13 penalties in the one season they won the league?
Did he?
13 in one season. I'm pretty sure that's what it was. Correct me.
That's a great stat.
People can correct me if I'm wrong. But it might have been Leicester as a whole. I don't know if he won them all.
Yeah.
But he won a lot of them. I mean, because if you're saying about, let's say it's 13, let's go 9 then. Even then, winning 9 to 10 penalties in one season. He's already won. I mean, he's won 2 in this one. He
won 2, didn't he? Yeah.
He won 2 against West Brom, didn't he?
So I don't think he won both.
This season, is he?
Yeah, he might have done actually. I know definitely 3. May have been 4.
So he's got 3 this season. We've played 3 games.
Yeah,
the man is he's a master of it. I've never seen anything like it ever.
Yeah, to be fair, I'll give you that one. But overall, I think we're both on par with that one. I think we might now, as a stinker of the week, we might have something different. I can already guess. Okay. I'm almost certain I know what yours is going to be. So yeah, you go ahead then, see if I'm right.
Well, okay. I mean, luckily, actually, I don't think there was anything in the Man City Man City Leicester game that was that controversial. But I said it last week in the podcast episode. I said VAR was my stinker, and I said it's not going to be the only time that's the stinker this season. The week before that, I said about the handball rule, how confusing is that? I think I also said it last week because we actually got the football out and started putting it on our body and seeing where it would be. And I said that would be an issue this season. A week on, 2 weeks on, they all combine, and it's an absolute nightmare. Just the 3 incidents that really sort of got it for me, to be honest.
Yeah, which are the 3?
Palace Everton game. So the Palace Everton game, I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah.
Being the massive Everton fan that you are now.
Yeah, I actually did watch that game.
Joel Ward, with your Everton hat on.
Yeah, exactly. I thought
Ancelotti t-shirt.
But weirdly, I thought that one was a pen. So I thought that was a pen.
The Joel Ward one.
I'm only the second person I've heard say it. It was me and one other analyst. I thought if I was an Everton fan, I'd be annoyed if that wasn't a pen.
This whole rule, and Roy Hodgson said it perfectly, right? And I know you're then going to get into the whole sort of issues of it and the differentiations you can look at it with, but handball has got to be an intentional, deliberate movement of the hand towards the ball to gain an advantage over your opponent. It can't be when the ball hits your hand in the area. It can't be that. They're there. Your hands are there. You're in a physical sport. Use your hands for everything. Grappling, jumping, getting height, leverage, getting space, strength, everything. You can't not use them. They're just there. So if the ball is headed down to Joel, and Joel Ward was literally, he had his hand by his side. I know it was out. I mean, it wasn't out far. I'm not going to say it was out here. It was close to him, but his hand was sticking out a little bit. And it hit his forearm, I think it hit.
Yeah.
Now, it just hit him. It hit him coming down from a header. Yeah, he didn't gain any advantage. There was no one going on behind him that was going to go and finish that in. He didn't move his hand towards the ball. It just hit him.
Yeah, but I know it's in slow-mo, so it makes it look weird, but his arm is coming, so he's turning, so his arm goes out like that, and then as it comes out, it hits his arm. So his hand is moving in the direction of the ball, and then it hits his arm. So I thought that was Branislav Ivanovic used to do it. He used to just defend like this, hands behind his back, because then they can't argue anything. So he never gave away a handball because he's got his hands behind his back. Joel Ward could have done that. If you know that's what the rule is, you do it.
But he's turning. He's turning.
Yeah, so you're saying your body physically can't turn?
No, he's halfway. But he's halfway through. He's not like turning, blocking a shot. So I can understand Ivanovic doing it, and I saw Eric Garcia do it for Madison's goal. Hand behind the back, and you're blocking a shot. Fair enough, I can understand that, right? But if you're halfway through, so a defender's gone up for a header, the ball's gone up in the air, he's literally turning around from heading or like defending a situation to mark or to look at the ball or see where it is. He's turned around and it's hit him in the arm. What is he meant to do?
If you see his arm does move out, that one I think is contestable because I think it is a pen. So I'd have been annoyed if I was an Everton fan and hadn't given. I think that one was. What are the other two you're thinking?
I just think, the other two are, to be fair, they're all going to, and I'll sort of get onto it, but they're all going to have the same argument to them, right? It's got to be that the handball rule, one, where is handball? Fine. Two, what is handball? It can't be handball when the ball just hits you on the hand. It's not that simple. It can't be. Because otherwise, I tell you what football's going to turn into. It will turn into 5 players in the box lumping it long, trying to get a knockdown onto someone's hand because it's going to happen. When you're defending in that numbers, it's literally going to be Stoke. Tony Pulis is Stoke. Yeah. Every team in the Premier League doing that. Your long-limbed players in a fantastic system. No, get out there and play. Yeah. But literally, that's what it's going to be. It's going to be just people lumping it long, trying to head it down and hoping someone jumps and hits them on the arm.
Well, no,
it's going to become a complete farce.
So I think Eric Dyers was an absolute joke. I completely agree. That was
so the other two I have on there, right? So the Eric Dyer and Newcastle one, and I'll tell you what has pissed me off about the Eric Dyer, and this whole situation has pissed me off, right? But what's pissed me off about this is that I can tell you what started all this. I don't know if you remember Manchester United's fantastic comeback when Ollie was at the wheel against PSG, right? Diego Dalot in the Parc des Princes, whatever, had a shot, was going miles over. Kimpembe had jumped to make a block. He had turned his back on the shot, so had jumped and turned his back. His arm was sticking out a little bit, about that far into the penalty box, and he had no idea where the ball was. He had his back turned, he was just trying to block the shot. Hit his hand, not affecting anything, not on the line, literally about 20 yards from goal, or 18 yards from goal.
Yeah.
And it just went straight down to the floor. It wasn't going anywhere near the goal, by the way. The shot was shit. Yeah. It went nowhere near the goal, right? And that was given as a penalty. Did you hear a single United fan or English football pundit complain? No. Because an English team have got further in Europe, right? But now they're fucking complaining, and so am I. I'm an Arsenal fan, and I'm furious for Tottenham.
That Kimpembe one was different, though, because that was unnatural position. Because I remember there was a Paulo Ferreira one in the Champions League for Chelsea, and he jumped up like that, and then had been pushed in the air, so moved like that, and the ball fell out of nowhere. It got off somebody else's head, landed on his hand, gone. We could see the penalty. We ended up losing the game. And I was like, and then it was like, well, he's clearly not intentionally doing it because it was like floppy hand. He was looking the other way, same as Kimpembe's. But I think they both should be handball. It's an unnatural position.
They can't be, Tom.
If you're jumping like this, I think you can. I
don't care because we've both played sport. If we were to bring a photographer with us to football, right, playing an 11-side match, even on Sunday League, and had them taking those shots where you can snap it at 1,000 times a second, right, or even videoing it in the quality of VAR. Every single time we went up for a jump, we don't even realise. We wouldn't even know we were doing it. We'd be up here and all over here and everything because that's what you're doing. Right? The hand is in a natural position. I can't stand that unnatural. What do you mean he's fighting for the ball? If you're going up for a header in a corner, you realise your head's not going to get there and you go like that to punch the ball away, unnatural. Deliberate handball penalty. If you've gone up to head it, and as you've headed it onto your own arm, or someone else has headed it and it's hit your arm as you're just there jumping, not a penalty. How can it? Eric Dyer was facing the other bloody way.
Yeah, no, so I don't think Eric Dyer was the pen, but then I don't think Chelsea's goal should have stood. For
the Havertz goal, Havertz handball. No,
I think that's handball.
Let's just play football. Let's just play football.
You can't
We've got so lost.
No, you can't do it that way. You can't have it as just it's this because then what happens if you're sliding for the ball as a defender and you go to block it and it hits your hand in the box? But it's a natural position because you're diving, like slide tackle diving.
Yeah, but
so no
but
pens?
that's what I'm saying. So the thing is, right? It's got to be in my head. It's just got to be intentional.
You'd have there's too many people because you just have people just defending like this. Then just walk around defending like this. My natural position. Joel Ward was like this, so he's got his arms to his sides, but at a 45-degree angle. So he's like this, so you can defend like that because that's your natural body position now. And if it hits your arm,
but then you've you've intentionally put your arms like that. If you've walked around defending like that, you've intentionally put your arms like that.
You can intentionally put your arms behind your back.
Yeah. Not when you're defending and you've turned around and the ball has hit you on the hand. Honestly, this is going to be a nightmare. Don't get me wrong, I like to see more goals and everything like that. I can't stand seeing, and I don't think Tottenham were fantastic, right? They should have killed the game off way quicker, right? They had a lot of chances and they should have killed the game off. But they deserved to win that game. Newcastle didn't have a shot until that penalty, shot on target.
They've got more.
They
points
deserved to win that game.
They've had 3 shots on target this season, scored 3.
Well, this honestly, you can't have this. How can you possibly have a football manager, Jose Mourinho? He's under a bit of pressure already, right? He's not, turned them into title contenders. They're playing well. I mean, not brilliantly. I'm an Arsenal fan here. I mean, I'd love to rip off Spurs and go, it doesn't matter. I mean, at the time when the Callum Wilson penalty went in, I probably did give it a little bit of it. But, afterwards, in hindsight, you go, I'm sorry, this is just not fair. And it will happen to Chelsea. It will happen to Arsenal. And obviously, United benefited from it as well. In that one, United Brighton, penalty.
All day. Yeah.
Intentional movement of the arm towards the ball, right? What I don't understand is that, and I don't know the rules on this, so I was going to ask you about it. How can the referee blow the final whistle and then come back and give a penalty?
I agree, but I think sanity prevailed in that case. Because because he's made a mistake and because he hasn't seen it, and that is the last action of the game. So if he hasn't seen it, he then goes, well, that's the end of it. That's the end of the game. I think he should then be able to do it. I don't know what the rule is, but I think the right thing happened in the end. It would have been too unfair. Because he doesn't call the VAR decision either, does he? VAR calls it to him. So he's already done it. He's gone, right, that's the end of it. Now then VAR have gone, no, you need to go back and check it.
Yeah, I think I agree. I think that one annoyed me most of all, like we said earlier, because I think Brighton were fantastic.
Yeah, same.
I think it annoyed
the first thing I thought was they can't do that, but
yeah, exactly. Yeah, any rule you can't do that. No.
In hindsight,
but yeah, I just think that this needs to be sorted out soon and some clarity provided on it. Because I mean, I understand that they were saying let's just make it really simple, right, for referees. I can understand why they've done that. If it hits the hand in the area, then it's got to be a penalty. What I don't understand is about 3 minutes before that Eric Dyer one, it also hit him on the hand in the same game from a similar situation where the ball hit down from a head and it hit him on the arm and it wasn't given. So where's the consistency?
Yeah,
Newcastle could have actually won the game on 2 penalties. So you just sit there and go, and again, like I spoke to you about Gabriel with Arsenal, and you just go, I just want some sort of consistency. Leeds' penalty that they conceded at Liverpool shouldn't have been a penalty according to the rules. So what the hell are the bloody rules? Because then some people are saying, no, it is a penalty. You go, no, because it says here if it hits up another body part, then it's not a penalty. What is the rules? Don't make it so that it's that any time it hits the hand in the box that it's a handball, because it will ruin football.
Well, I think it'll be similar to, I don't know if you remember, probably about 3 or 4 years ago now, where they did it it was like players grabbing each other in the box. On the first 2 game weeks, there was 5 or 6 pens, and Stoke just couldn't stop giving penalties away. And it was, as soon as they saw anybody pull in any shirt, it was a penalty instantly. But they were giving away so many penalties that they had to then retract the rule and change it. And I wouldn't be surprised if we see something this week. Because there's too many high-profile ones. That I don't understand. You can't have Eric Dyers as a pen, and not give Havertz one. You can't.
Yeah, exactly. Or not even give the Eric Dyer one 4 minutes before.
Yeah,
do you know what I mean?
It doesn't make sense. Yeah, you're gonna have 3 penalties a game.
But this is what I mean. And, Peter Crouch put out a tweet where he said, God, I would have given away a lot of penalties. And you go, well, yeah, because, I mean, what are you meant to do with them? The arms are just there. They're a body part. You're an athlete playing a physical sport where the ball goes up in the air. It will hit your arm. There's nothing you can do about it. So there's got to be some sort, I don't know what. I personally think it's got to be an intentional movement. I understand your argument, which is that how can you define intentional? People will just
Too
go around
subjective,
defending, like you say, a slide tackle. It's too subjective, yeah, and everything is too subjective. That's the whole issue with VAR. I do like VAR, right? I actually think it's needed, but the whole issue with it is that the way one referee would have seen it is not how the other one would have.
Which is
Like
the
you
only
said,
way,
the
yeah.
managers have got to be able to challenge the call, and we spoke about that last time, and
Yeah.
maybe that should come in. And they put their case forward to maybe even a third referee. I
Yeah.
don't know.
The only problem is we're talking about being subjective, so they've tried to make it clear, cut and dry, black and white. This is what handball is. If it hits the hand, it's a handball. So it makes it easier for VAR to make the decision. Because the problem is,
I understand that. I understand that.
It's not a science, and it's going to be.
I understand it. I understand it theoretically, but but in practice, then it's just. I mean, it really every single time now. I don't know about you. Every single time, I think in a way it probably has made it more entertaining because every time the ball goes in the box now, and there is a little bit of a pinball situation, my heart just there. Oh God! Oh God!
Yeah.
Oh God! And then you just hear the shout of handball, and you just think, "Oh fuck off!"
Yeah,
you just hear
everyone's
it.
appealing
You
for
hear the
everything
players
now.
going.
And there was watching
Exactly.
to sort of segue onto my stinker. There was the West Brom Chelsea game, and Kovacic was appealing for something in the first half, and I was like, "It's never a handball." But then I was thinking, if I was playing, I probably would. If I was 3-0 down, I'd appeal for anything. You never know. Chuck it to VAR, see what comes back.
Yeah.
So I think you will get a lot of that, to be honest. But for my stinker.
So what is your stinker of the week then?
It's Marcus Alonso.
Oh, this won't be a hard one for you. You've been moaning to me about Marcus Alonso for the past 3 seasons.
He can't defend. The man cannot defend. And you watch them. Fair enough, Thiago Silva's one is a mistake. But West Brom had 3 shots on target against us, which makes it look a lot worse than it was, I think. Marcus Alonso, and to be fair to Frank Lampard, has just called all 3 of them out. In his post-match press conference, went, yeah, Marcus Alonso, what are you doing headering that right back into the danger zone? What are you doing your left back? Forwards or out? You just cushioned it down to the striker. What are you doing? Thiago Silva, just miscontrolled, it's lazy. So I don't think he really made... Apart from that, he didn't look too bad. So it's just lack of concentration, so I can find with that one. And then Alonso has just lost his man entirely. He's just on his own and he's just stopped defending. You're 2-0 down at this point. You're 2-0 down, 25 minutes in, away from home. All you need to do is just stick to your man. Just stick to your man. Because during the game, I'm thinking to myself, I'm going to have to go here and now and talk about Lampard out. Maybe not that far, but is Lampard out of his depth? All of those types of things. But when you look at it, you take those. There's 3 big individual mistakes that you cannot. No manager can account for those. It's not a system issue. It's not that he's zonal over man on man. It's not that they're playing a back 3 rather than back 4. Simply, it's just 3 individual mistakes. And Marcus Alonso has been doing them for years. Brilliant left wing back because he doesn't really have to defend, but awful as a left back. So I genuinely don't think he'll play another game for Chelsea. I'd be very surprised.
Really? Do you think he'll be gone before the transfer window? Really?
Nobody wants him. Nobody wants him. So we're going to have Chilwell as first choice as soon as he's fit. I don't know what's happening with Emerson. Possibly Juve are looking at him, but I think if we keep him...
Yeah, he looks like he's leaving.
Yeah, so that's the reason he didn't play. And I think if we ever need somebody who isn't Chilwell, it's going to be Azpilicueta, which makes you think then maybe we should have kept Lamptey or find a way of keeping Lamptey as a reserve. But yeah, it's just not acceptable for a team. What we're trying to build, and what we're trying to build is to be a top 4 concrete team challenging for titles. You can't have that much reliability in your team. You just can't.
No,
and he was
and I
horrendous.
think I think a lot of people were making out that the Thiago Silva thing was sort of one of the worst debuts in football. I mean, I watched the game. Apart from that error, he was pretty solid.
Yeah.
I will say that if it was the other way around and an Arsenal new signing had made that mistake, I think you'd be giving it a lot of stick.
Should have been David Luiz, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, but we'll let him away with it. Yeah, I think to be fair, it's almost like Alonso had. I don't know if you remember that game Aboué had for Arsenal a few years ago, where he came on and then Wenger subbed him off because he literally passed the ball to the opposition. I think we were 3-2 up or something, or 2-1 up, and we were trying to hold on to the win for like the last 7 minutes or like last 20 minutes. He came on, passed to their team, literally nearly set them up clean through on goal, tackled his own player, couldn't complete a pass, and everyone was just like, "Is this guy fucking drunk? Like, is he on drugs? Is he on acid?" acid. What is this? Like, and it's almost like Alonso was just having one of those games where you just go, what? Like you got your head is gone. You just can't even think straight. You can't even.
He hasn't too often though. He hasn't too often, and yeah, I can't see how that's sustainable. I just can't.
No.
And on the flip side of it, if I'm going to try and put some positive spin on it, obviously Chelsea looked better in the second half. Tactically changed it up. Did everything he possibly could. We did score 3. I know it's a newly promoted team who aren't the best defending, who obviously, if you're 3-0 up at half time, you're going to just sit back for the next 45 minutes and hope they don't score 3. But Chelsea looked good, I think, in the second half. I was quite happy with Hudson-Odoi after we talked about a couple of weeks ago.
Do you know what's weird?
Finishing.
We've got a little bit of a thing coming in on this podcast that every time we talk about someone, the opposite of what we've said, or even, no, not even the opposite of what we've said, but something with that player happens in reaction to what we've said, almost, which is really weird. We have the Hudson-Odoi thing where we were saying, where is he going? What's happened to him? He comes on and puts on a blinding performance. James Maddison, we said his career is going to go either one or two ways now, comes on and scores an absolutely incredible goal.
Absolute screamer.
Yeah, an absolute screamer. Watch Jamie Vardy now not score for the rest of the season or ever win a penalty ever again.
Yeah, that's it now.
and
I was thinking with Bayern Munich yesterday. So we're recording on Monday.
Yeah, that was the other thing. Yeah, I was thinking there was another thing.
I'd purposely been looking through, and I'd found a stat ready for today of Bayern Munich since he took over. He took over, they've won. Ignoring yesterday, they've won more trophies than he's either lost or drawn games. So when he took over, so this was yesterday. Flick has actually won more trophies 4 than he's lost or drawn games 3 as Bayern Munich manager. So he's now won as many trophies as he's lost and drawn games, because he's had 25 wins or whatever it is. And then obviously they went and lost yesterday, of course they did. I was about to back up.
Hoffenheim is a bit of a bogey team to them though. I think they've lost to them the last 3 seasons in a row.
I watched the highlights and have looked at a bit of stuff on it afterwards, and it looks like it could have been more. So
strange.
Yeah, maybe it's the curse of the Absolute Football Podcast.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, we'll get that trending.
Yeah.
The other honourable mention I have for Stinker of the Week is Stinker in general actually at the moment is Sheffield United. I backed them to do really well this season. Obviously 3 games, no wins, looking very wishy-washy, which is not a Chris Wilder team. I'm really surprised, and I wouldn't be surprised if that's the last time we see them like that. I think he's going to ring the changes, and at least they'll have a bit of a fighting performance. I thought they were pretty toothless in their opening 3 games, and I think a big loss for them is actually Dean Henderson. I think maybe looking back on it, he kept them in a lot of games last season that they then went on to win. And maybe Ramsdale, who had a good game by the way,
he did play well,
but maybe he's not quite of the same caliber. So yeah, interesting.
But if to flip onto that game, because it was against Leeds, what's their keeper's name? Money something like that.
Mailser, yeah.
Yeah, his save for Lundstrom was unbelievable. Possibly saved the season so far. So that goes in. It's a different game. So I'm not willing to throw.
Do you know what's funny though?
Under the bus.
When Arsenal played Leeds last season, he was the goalkeeper in goal.
Yeah.
I think it might have been the FA Cup at the Emirates, and his distribution is world class. I thought it in the game, and they said he was like 21 on loan from Lorient, and I thought, okay, he's probably just having a good game. But in his opening 3 games as well, his distribution has been very good, and his goalkeeping has been very good. So it looks like they might have signed a bit of a gem there for quite under the radar, to be honest. So
yeah, well, it was an unbelievable save.
It
was an unbelievable save, to be fair. So no, I can see. I don't know if they'll go down, but I had them pretty far down the league because they didn't score many goals last year. I can't remember exactly where I put them finishing, but not overly that high. So I don't know. Second season syndrome is a thing. So I think watch that space with Sheffield United.
I think it's just this season. I think this season they could now go on a 5-game winning run, and it's not even an issue anymore. This season is just so exciting, and I can't wait to see what happens. But speaking of who sort of needs to strengthen and maybe ringing the changes in at Sheffield United, as of the time we record this, I think there's 1 week or maybe just over a week to go in the just under a week to go in the transfer window. So I mean, the opening 3 games, and bear in mind we're recording this in the middle of the Villa and Fulham game with Arsenal Liverpool to play later. So everyone will be on 3 games by the time this sort of is aired.
Yeah.
From what you've seen so far, who needs what and who needs to shift what in the last week?
Well, the thing is, I don't think there's any team who needs a full overhaul.
No, I agree.
I think there's bits missing from pretty much every team. So if we're working through the table as it stands at the moment, we've got Leicester top. I think they're same as we were saying last year when Jamie Vardy's firing. I think I said on one of the previous episodes, if Jamie Vardy's firing, they were third best team in the league last year. And Jamie Vardy's flying, so they're one of the best teams in the league. I don't think they need anything. Everton, we all know how I feel about Everton. So I think they maybe need cover in places.
Well, hang on. What I would say is, with Leicester and Everton, then they've obviously had a good start.
Yeah.
So to go on and I'm not just talking. Well, no, yeah, let's talk it. To go on and challenge. I'm not going to say title because I don't think they're there yet.
No.
But to go on and challenge, and I mean properly challenge, and I mean maybe not even make it close, really go out and set the pace for Champions League football, what do they need to sign? Because you look at that Leicester team...
I don't think anything.
You think they're going to go and set the pace for Champions League football as it stands?
Yeah, I can't see why not. I can't see why not. As long as Jamie Vardy stays in form, that's their only thing. Every team needs a goal scorer, and if they can keep him fit, I can't see any reason why not. Same with Everton and Calvert-Lewin. I don't think Calvert-Lewin will keep doing it. If he does, then I'll happily be proved wrong. But I think that's the big thing, isn't it? Having somebody who can actually put the ball in the back of the net, and they've got that. And if you compare what Chelsea and United are doing at the start of the season, it's a very long season, but they both look pretty average, in all honesty. So I wouldn't be surprised. Maybe not both of them, but one of them. I don't know which one yet, because they both got very good managers as well. Very good managers, both got fairly young teams. So I think it's going to be interesting. Really interesting. But I do think it's one of those two who are going to crack the top 4 outside of what we said at the start of the season. And then looking, doing the top 2 then, I've just done that. But looking through the league, I don't think there's any team so far that really jumps out at me that really needs change, other than I think Sheffield United probably need a striker, but I don't think they'll get one. They were lucky last year that they survived off their defence. They didn't really score enough goals, especially towards the end of the season.
I disagree. I disagree with that. I think they play. I mean, maybe in terms of the scoring enough goals, maybe I agree. They play very good football. Actually, much better than I thought they did. I hadn't watched them for I think the first maybe 5 to 10 games of last season, and I just assumed it was a long ball kind of making the odd goal sort of thing. When they played against Arsenal and then I watched them a bit afterwards, they actually are very well coached, very good tactically, and actually get the ball on the ground and play it. They're strong, they're physical, and I just think maybe there's a bit of comfort that's set in, which I'd be surprised if Wilder hasn't seen already. I think they do need a striker, and it looks like they're looking towards youth. I know they've been trying to sign Balogun from Arsenal's youth team, and
they've been linked with Brewster?
About 15 million. Yeah, they've been linked with Brewster, so Crystal Palace as well. I think Sheffield United need him more than Palace need him.
Yeah, definitely.
So I think he'd be a good signing for them. I think, to be honest, that from the top 10 as it stands, obviously apart, we're not trying to make them all into title challenges. We're talking where they should probably finish. What do they need? Arsenal need midfielders. We don't have enough midfielders. We desperately need to sign and get the deals completed for Partey as a defensive mid and Auer as a centre mid / attacking mid. If those 2 deals aren't completed, I mean, if one of them is completed, then great. But we really need those 2 to be completed for us to have any chance of actually going on to fight for things this season. I'm not saying the title, but I am saying to fight for things. I think apart from that, I think Tottenham, for me, it's a manager issue. It is, I can't say that they need signings really. Obviously, I think Newcastle and West Ham now, I think they actually do have, when you look through their squad, they've actually got a very good squad. They should be top 10.
On paper, they
should be top 10.
We have players like Felipe Anderson, Yarmolenko, Lanzini.
Fornals, Bowen,
They've
Christ,
got a decent team.
Antonio, very decent team. Haller, defense is good as well. Declan Rice, obviously, and then Brighton play really good football. They looked great. They look like they're going
They're
to do
brilliant.
well this
They played
season.
well against Chelsea as well.
I think the two we can look at, and they're quite conveniently right next to each other, I think, are City and United. For me, United isn't even signings. Again, it's the same as Tottenham. It's a manager issue.
That's the thing. I don't think it's signings. I don't think so. I think they've got, if again,
No, they've got a great squad.
Yeah, 1 to 11, they've got a great team. City, on the other hand, it's always been the problem. If they I think we spoke about it again before. I don't think Gabriel Jesus is good enough to be.
Oh really? I rate him very highly.
I don't at all, because I don't think he's not the Aguero. He's not the Salah type player that you need to win a league. I think it's the problem that you kind of had with Giroud before. He was great. He'll probably get you top 6, top 4, but he's not going to get you to win a league. And Man City have got De Bruyne who can do that for them, but you need somebody to score goals. And that's why I was so excited that Chelsea signed Werner. It's because the reason we tailed off towards the end of last year is because Abraham didn't have his purple patch anymore. So I think their problem is they need a replacement for Aguero. They've needed it for 3 years.
No,
I think they need to offload. I think what the best thing they could have done this summer is offload Aguero and signed Aubameyang, or done something along those lines. Sign a player, just because Aguero's just not. You're not going to get 40 game season out of him. You're just not. You might get 20. If Aguero's had a good season with injuries, you'll get 20 games out of him, and that's only half your games. You need somebody like Lewandowski who plays every single game. Benzema who plays every single game. Ronaldo, Messi, they play every single game, or every important game, and then they get rested when you're playing, I don't know, Eibar or whoever it is, or Union Berlin. So Man City don't really have a striker, because the problem is they end up playing Gabriel Jesus and bringing on Rory Delap's son. Again, when you're 5-2 down at home.
He looks like a good player, by the way.
He does look like a good player.
He does look like a good player.
You don't bring him on against Leicester, who, like we were talking about last, arguably third best team in the league. So I think that's their position where they need to strengthen. I think they legitimately need to strengthen there. Other than that, it probably goes back to it more of a system management issue.
See, I disagree. I think the position they need to strengthen, although striker, I can see where you're coming from. I don't think that's where they desperately need to focus. I think Rodri has been an awful signing for them.
Yeah, but I just play Fernandinho.
But Fernandinho is not the Fernandinho of 2 seasons ago.
He was their best centre back.
They needed to. Yeah, but I'm not talking about centre back. I'm talking about CDM.
Yeah.
They need that player in front of the centre backs to go and break up the attacks. The reason they won the league was because they did not let teams counter-attack them. That's the big difference in the system. The system still works. It's just they don't have that player who is on the pitch, who's quick enough, athletic enough, smart enough to make the foul, and cute enough to make the fouls enough times in a game and not get sent off, and also break up every single dangerous attack. And then as soon as City are back and well-oiled, they win the ball back and go and counter you and press you down.
I think this goes back to what we talked about earlier. I think that's a Pep fault. That's Pep's fault. It has to be, because Fernandinho.
Oh yeah, he signed the players. Yeah.
Yeah, Fernandinho was there when they arrived, and he is arguably the most consistent player defensively on the defensive side of things. He signed Rodri, who's good on the ball, but not great off the ball. He really wanted Jorginho, and imagine Jorginho in that system. He'd done exactly the same thing. He'd probably been worse, but he was their number one target. And he decided to go to Chelsea because of Sarri. Wish they'd have taken him now. But you look at the players he wants in that position, he doesn't want somebody to do that. And the same goes back then. Okay, they're a great team and they will steamroll teams, 6 and 7s, like we know they can do. But if he's spending 400 million on defenders who can't defend, and wanted to spend 50 million on Jorginho and spent 40 odd million on Rodri, he's buying central defensive midfielders who can't defend and defenders who can't defend. Come on, that's got to be, at some point, there needs to be somebody in there who needs to go, look, just win games. Just win them ugly. And he won't win them ugly.
Well, that's what I think Arteta did. That's what I think. I think Arteta was that person in his ear saying, do what you want going forward. In that position, we need Fernandinho.
Yeah.
And I feel like since he's gone, he hasn't had that. I think what he's looking to do is build the Barcelona team again. So he wants a Busquets. And Busquets, if you have a midfield of Busquets, Xavi and Iniesta, you're not getting picked off. The ball is not getting broken up in midfield and you're getting countered. That's not happening.
No.
Yeah? When you have, as good as Rodri, De Bruyne and Foden are, they do get caught out more than Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets. And by the way, when Xavi, Iniesta and Busquets got the ball right, they got it to Messi.
Yeah, that's the difference.
At which point, you're scoring. Yeah?
Yeah.
Man City are getting it to Mahrez and it's not guaranteed. I'm not saying any of these players are not good. They're incredible footballers. Hell of a goal
from Mahrez.
But they're incredible footballers, but they are not. That Barcelona team, for me, one-off. A one-off team.
Yeah. Once in a generation.
In prime of their careers, in terms of generations, everything once in a generation.
Yeah.
Pep, by trying to buy Rodri, although Rodri's got the physical presence, you look at the size of him and you think, yeah, he'll make it in the Premier League. He's not quick, he's not cute. When he makes fouls, he steamrolls people and gets a yellow card in like the 6th minute. What's that? Yeah. What good is that for your CDM for the rest of the game when you're trying to break up play? You can't make another tackle.
But we had this conversation before, when again it's the one that went unreleased, that he can't. You were saying that he wins things with the system, but he's been brought in to win the Champions League. He didn't do it at Bayern. He hasn't done it at City. It's a great system, and he plays beautiful football because he has unlimited budget, effectively everywhere he goes within reason. So he's gonna win Bundesliga because everyone's gonna win Bundesliga. But when you look at it, it's a Pep issue. It has to be a Pep issue because what he did against Lyon, it just has to be a Pep issue because he wants to play his system. Like you said, he probably wants to recreate what he had at Barcelona. It doesn't allow for you to have that. Okay, right, we're 1-0 up. Right, how about we sit back now for 20 minutes, let you come to us, and we try and catch you on the break with, because Gabriel Jesus is quick, Sterling, Mahrez, Foden, De Bruyne, having those 5 coming at you on the break is a horrible thought. Especially Foden looks like serious player.
Oh yeah, so he is.
Why not?
Foden and De Bruyne's passes are spot on every single time. So
just try something a bit different.
And you have Sterling running through. Yeah, I know, and I do. I think it has got to be a system issue. I think in my head, obviously, Pep is. In terms of what I love about football, he is everything I love about football and the way he thinks about football. So he's got that Wenger thing that, I love about the way you look at football, and that football is art, and it's got to be attacking and it's got to be entertaining. But it's got to win, for him in his position, right? I'm not saying for me as a fan or whatever. I don't think winning football is the only reason to support a football team. But for him in his position, you're right, he's got to win. Yeah. So there's got to be that element that he starts to take a look at himself. I don't think it will happen because I think when you're that much of a visionary, which he is from a footballing sense, it's got to be your vision and your vision only, and it can't be anyone else's, and it can't be changed, it can't be altered. It's got to be that.
Which I think
so. I don't think he will change it.
I think it's horrendous how anybody could ever have that in anything. How you can't be willing to.
No, I agree.
Why you can't have willing to compromise in anything. It's a problem that Arsenal always had with that. Like you said, it's a perfect example. It's the people just set in their ways and they're never willing to look at things that change. And that's why then possibly we've looked at it that there was the Mourinho thing that football passed him by. Guardiola, is it now? Is football passed him by for this different? Is Klopp now the next?
Well, Wenger did.
Wenger it passed him by. These kind of things because they're not willing to. They've got their way of playing. Mourinho, Guardiola, Wenger is all the same. Obviously different types, but they had their way of playing and it was successful originally. And then it was like, well, it was successful then. Why isn't it successful now? Or maybe things have changed slightly. Which is what Klopp's done. And I think they now, after yesterday, have got to be massive favourites for the league. They've got to be.
Yeah. And the episode that was never released, I mean, we did a 1 to 20 Premier League table, which we'll redo when the transfer window shuts. But I won't say where I had City. But anyway, we'll move on.
was it 13? Where they are now?
But yeah, so I think there's a few positions for Man City to focus on. For me, it's got to be CDM. I think centre backs. Obviously, they've signed Ruben Diaz now. They've got Ake. They've got Laporte. They've got John Stones. Which, by the way, I would be happy to have him at Arsenal. There was a few rumours earlier on, and they seem to have gone away. But I would be happy to have him there. I think defence, they're actually, even though defence is their issue, I don't think it is individuals. I think it is system and the individual that is at CDM, in my opinion. Not that he's not a good CDM. For what City do, he's not a good CDM. He was perfect for Atletico Madrid, who sit in, and then you've got a 6'2". Have you seen the size of his bloody quads? Like tree trunks. Like, imagine running a parked bust defence anyway, and then trying to get through that unit.
I know.
Yeah, it'd be terrible. But I don't think he suits City's style at all. And then, looking at the rest of the teams, I mean, the only ones that I would say, obviously, Southampton looked good against Burnley. They've had, apart from that, a bit of an indifferent start. But I can't see any major areas they need to strengthen. Overall, all round, you think quite a good 11
for where they are as well. They look good for where they are.
What has surprised me is Wolves, and obviously particularly after the West Ham result. But in general, I think their start to the season has been a bit, But as a team and as a squad, I can't say it's weak.
No, and the same thing happened last year. They did. I think they lost the first 4 games last year. Ended up finishing 7th. Yeah. And we were talking last week about teams who've had a short turnaround. Don't forget, their season last year was 370 days. They went from July to August, and it was just unbelievable, their season they had to go through. And then they've done that, had 2 weeks off and had to go straight back into pre-season. They must be done physically. It must be tough for them to keep going like Liverpool did. They've had no time off whatsoever. So I think it might be a hangover of last year, but give them a couple of weeks and they'll probably finish mid-table maybe instead of top 8 this year, maybe a couple of spaces lower. But Nuno deserves a new contract, and then they'll go again next year maybe once they've signed another couple of players. And I don't think anybody's really that weak at the moment. I think the newly promoted sides have all done really well in terms of the management that they've got, apart from Fulham, who I think are just down whatever happens. They're just a championship team.
Well, they weren't expected to be up, were they? They were not expected to come up. So, they're just happy to be here. They're like a dog at the Grand National. Yeah.
Speaking of which, they're currently 3-0 down with not an hour played against Aston Villa as well. So
yeah, right, okay. Villa look good as well, by the way. But the team I would say really does need, and I just think they need numbers. Having looked at their squad and their starting 11 and all the transfer rumours going on with them, Burnley, they desperately need some investment. Their defence, they've got, Kevin Long is, he comes in and plays the odd game a season. I think he plays like a handful of games. He's not a Premier League defender and he's started every game so far. They've got a centre-back come up for the youth team, Dunn. He looks good, but he's young. Yeah, he's not ready for the Premier League week in, week out yet. Ben Mee and Tarkowski. Tarkowski looks like he could be going to Leicester, it is Leicester.
Or Palace.
Funny enough. Or Palace, yeah. But
West Ham
as well.
West Ham, yeah.
West Ham, yeah.
West Ham and Leicester.
Funny enough, actually, the only position I was going to say that Leicester needed to strengthen potentially was alongside Sayuncu as centre-back.
Johnny Evans?
But yeah, Burnley... Yeah, but he's getting on a bit now.
Yeah.
I think he's a good defender, but I think he's getting on a bit in terms of them challenging for Champions League.
Yeah,
really challenging.
And they've got Champions League football this year as well, haven't they? So they need bodies.
Yeah, exactly. And Burnley, Ben Mee as well. I don't know if that's an injury or if that's a transfer situation. I don't know, but I think it must be an injury. But in general, they just look like they really need some. Not an overhaul, but I think they're the closest squad in the Premier League that I think needs an overhaul. They just need some players in, good players, and they've got a good manager. They've got a good established side now in the Premier League. They could really bed themselves into the Premier League for the next 5-10 years here if they just get some investment. And there's just nothing coming in.
Nothing.
You feel for Sean Dyche, you do.
Yeah. Name me their biggest signings since they've been in the Premier League. Marquee signing. And think how long they've been in the Premier League as well when you're thinking about it.
Marquee signing in the Premier League.
Somebody went to Burnley and you're like, ooh, it's a good signing.
Vidra.
Exactly. From the Championship.
That was from Derby. Yeah. Exactly. Yeah, good point.
Bloody
good point.
I can think of 3 off the top of my head. Chris Wood, because he was banging in for Leeds, but he's banging in for Leeds, a Championship player. Ben Gibson from Middlesbrough at the time. There's a lot of teams after him. Chelsea rumoured with him at the time, but again, I think he got relegated the season they signed him. And Stephen Defoe, the Belgian centre midfielder. I was like, he's a proper player. I was like, okay, maybe they're trying to actually start playing football. So you take him out, and they've never signed anybody who isn't a Championship player or over the hill, but signing Aaron Lennon. Like John Walters, I think they signed at one point. He's got no money to play with whatsoever, and he's done such a good job for them.
Actually,
spend it.
when you've said
They won't
that
spend
now, even the job has been made even more incredible. In my head, it was
Yeah.
already an incredible job. You look at that and you just think, I mean, when you actually look at that 1 to 11, it's a championship side. Yeah?
Oof. Yeah.
There's no doubt about it. It's a
That wouldn't
championship
get promoted.
side. It's not even. No, it wouldn't get promoted. No,
No.
unless you've got Sean Dyche at the helm.
Yeah,
So he
at the
needs some
wheel.
support. He needs some investment. And I mean, they're 18th at the minute. Don't stop. But yeah, he needs some investment. And that nearly sneaked by. I nearly didn't hear.
Yeah, I know. I thought I got it in. Thought I got it in there under the bus.
Get out! Get out, you horrible man. But yeah, so I think they're the only ones that I don't think it will happen, but they need a good 5 or 6 in the next week. But yeah, I don't think that will happen.
Now they are Tony Pulis. They are bang average players in a fantastic system.
Yeah, exactly, absolutely. Yeah. And that was actually my football story from, was it episode 1? I think it was. Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it was.
Oh no, maybe episode 2.
No, it wasn't even story. It wasn't even football story. No.
Yeah. So funny enough, actually, I've got a few football stories. So speaking that we're talking about managers not being backed. Okay. This segment this week is going to be called Football Short Stories. Stop checking the Villa score.
I'm not checking the Villa score. I'm getting my. Although just to let you know, it was 3-1 and Fulham just had a goal disallowed. So come on, they're definitely going down now, aren't they?
Yeah, for sure. So yeah, speaking of managers not being backed, there's the story. I don't know if you've heard of this, of the shortest shortest manager stint in football history. You heard about this?
Is it? I don't think it's the one you're thinking of, but is it the Real Madrid manager where he announced as Real Madrid manager and they got sacked in like 24 hours or something?
No, not that one.
He's the Spain manager at the World Cup.
This can do. Oh, him. Yeah. This can do even better. Okay. So Leroy Rossini, down in the lower leagues, Torquay got relegated. And as they basically got relegated, they sacked their current manager, and they hired Leroy Rossini to lead their charge back into. I think they actually got relegated to the conference. It was in 2007. So to lead their charge back into the Football League, right? So he goes in, he's officially appointed, signs the contract in front of the press, okay? The local press of Torquay, not the Sky Sports News, but anyway, the local press of Torquay. Actually, it probably was Sky Sports News, but yeah. Goes in, right? Goes straight into the back room of the club, meets all the staff, says hello, everything like that, right? With the current chairman, current owner as well. The owner then literally says to him, right, this is how the story goes. The owner says to him, okay, right, go into your office, get settled in, and we'll go and have a chat in about half an hour, right? As the chairman goes into his office, he receives a confirmation call, that the club has been bought. Okay, it's got new owners, and the new owners have decided they want their own man in charge, and his first job is to tell the current manager that he's sacked. His stint in charge of Torquay lasted 7 minutes.
Oh, what a payout though! If you just signed a contract, you've got to get rid of him. What a payout!
I don't know what the
most money anybody's ever earned in 7 minutes.
I don't know what the employment law rules are for sporting contracts. They must be different. But if he had under 2 years' service, then he would have just been gone out the door. No questions asked. But there we are. Okay, so that's story number 1, which actually linked quite nicely from managers not being backed. Imagine 7 minutes in, someone coming in and saying, "Yeah, we just don't think it's working out."
Yeah, that's what the Burnley chairman says every time Sean Dyche goes into his office and asks for more money. At least you're giving you longer than 7 minutes, Sean. God. Count yourself lucky.
Yeah, getting on to 7 years now.
Yeah.
So the second story then is another stupid one, which I'm sure you probably heard. Another short story. Have you ever read into why Stephen Ireland, football prodigy Stephen Ireland, Irish Robbie Keane, Irish prodigy Stephen Ireland,
Irish Robbie Keane.
The reasons that
was Robbie Keane also Irish?
Oh, you know what I meant. The next Robbie Keane is what I meant. Sorry, to carry the country to stardom, right? That's what I meant. Sorry, not the Irish Robbie Keane. Brilliant, right? But have you heard why he sort of ever looked into why he just disappeared out of football stardom when he was doing quite well?
No.
So he got dropped by. Yeah, me too. I really thought he was going to be something. I thought he was their diamond. Of that sort of era. But anyway, he got dropped by the Republic of Ireland and Man City, okay? when he pretended he got called up for international duty against the Czech Republic, right? And he dropped out because he dropped out because his grandmother had died. Okay. So he said, called them up and said, I can't attend, my grandmother's died. And he actually, instead, his grandmother hadn't died. Okay. He went to visit his girlfriend instead. He wanted to spend some time with his girlfriend, so he dropped out and just used that other one as an excuse. Not only did he do that, right? So he'd initially done that and then gotten away with it, which you're already thinking, come on, mate, bit dodgy.
Yeah.
Just, feign an injury or something, I don't know. But yeah, a bit dodgy. He gets back to Man City and he says to Eriksson, Sven-Göran Eriksson in charge at the time, that he was still grieving and needed extra time off. So he had 2 weeks additional bereavement leave pay. And then his grandmother actually died a few years later, right? But obviously they had already found out literally straight away at the time because he came out and apologised. And from then on, he was kind of never really seen again.
He got
which
the best
is pretty
job in
mad,
the world.
really.
He had a very poor stint at Stoke.
But this is what I mean. Literally, after the City days, you just didn't see him again, and that's when it all started to sort of go wrong, really. But yeah, absolutely crazy.
Loved a bit of Steve Ireland.
Yeah, me too. Honestly, he was like a player that I thought was an absolute diamond. I really did.
Yeah.
Okay, and then my third and final short football story of the week is from Danish football. Do you know your Danish football well?
I'm gonna have to be brutally honest and say
yes.
No.
Yeah, of course I do. Well, okay, this is a great story. So Danish club Ebeltoft. They've got a longer name than that, but I can't pronounce it. So we'll just call them Ebeltoft. They'll now be my Danish team, right?
Okay.
They were leading 4-3 with only seconds remaining when playing. That is their full name. They met another team called Norwich, something like that. Okay.
Yeah.
And Norwich were leading 4-3 with seconds to remaining. Ebeltoft went on the attack up the Ebeltoft, and as they pressed forward, got into a good position. The referee, Henning Erikstrup, went to blow the final whistle. Game was over.
Yeah.
Only problem was that his false teeth fell out, and as he tried to blow the whistle, no noise was made. Play continued, and believe it or not, Ebeltoft scored. And the referee disallowed the goal and blew the full-time whistle because he said that he meant to stop the play.
Oh.
Ebeltoft went to the equivalent of the Danish FA, and the decision did not get overturned. Heartbreaking for my lifelong team, Ebeltoft.
In fairness, though, it goes back to what I was saying with the United one. That's common sense. So I'm happy with that. I think it's a good decision.
I like a logical decision.
Yeah,
give me a rationale, and I'm all fine with it. Weirdly enough, as well, all three of my stories were from 2007.
Oh,
so
big year!
Fantastic year for football. Big year in football.
Well. Okay, so moving on from your stories, I've gone away from underrated or overrated this week and thought we'd try something a little bit different. On the back of one we were talking about of Guess the Player.
Oh, the Who Am I? I enjoyed that.
So I've got Who Am I? It's 3 questions.
Good.
3 questions for the Who Am I? And I'll give you 4 possibilities who the player is.
Oh,
so
okay.
An A, B, C or D. So
Nice. Can I try and guess without the A, B, C or D and then we'll go from there?
Yeah, that's fine. Play along at home as well. So I've got 6 altogether. I did have 7, but I wanted the answer was Mustafi, and I didn't want it to be Arsenal related. So we've gone for. So it's number 1.
Mm-hmm.
I was born in Brazil, but represent another country.
Every Brazilian player ever, then.
I've played alongside both Gary Cahill and Marcus Alonso, and I've also scored against England.
Okay, so let me just go through this. Born in Brazil, plays for another country. That's a lot of players. Gary Cahill and Marcus Alonso, I think you're trying to put me towards Chelsea, but it's actually Bolton. And then what was the third one again?
I've scored against England.
Scored against England. Okay. I scored against England. I'm going to go for, without knowing the players, I'm going to go for Rodrigo from
That's
Leeds.
Outstanding. Fair play.
Was that? Yes!
Was, yeah.
Get
Fair
in.
play.
Brilliant.
That's outstanding.
Because he scored for
I had no idea he
He
played
scored for
Bolton.
Spain against England.
No idea.
Yeah, I
he
knew he
Bolton.
played for. He was on. He was the same loan signing for Bolton when they signed Daniel Sturridge
That's
and Marcus
outstanding.
Alonso.
That's truly outstanding. Fair play.
Good knowledge that. So who was the four that you were going to give me?
It was Thiago, Diego Costa, Jorginho, and Rodrigo were the four.
Yeah. That's. I'm impressed with that.
Yeah,
I'll
that's good.
take that. What do I win?
Nothing. My respect. That's my respect. That's what you win.
I didn't want that anyway.
Yeah, you haven't got it either, even if you win. Okay, so next one then is guess who I am. I've played under these three managers, so these are the three, and this counts as the three questions this time.
Mm-hmm.
Roy Hodgson,
Mm-hmm.
Fabio Capello, and Goose Hiddink.
Mm-hmm. Say it again.
So this player has played under Roy Hodgson, Fabio Capello, and Gus Hiddink.
Mm-hmm. Okay, I'm just thinking international and club. So Roy Hodgson, it's got to be, unless it's one of his weird like Danish or Swiss or something. No, he was international manager of Switzerland. So unless it's some weird Danish team, it's got to be Fulham, Liverpool, Crystal Palace. Roy Hodgson. Who was the second one? Sorry,
Capello. I don't think
it's got to be England for Capello because the Milan days and the Juventus days were so long ago.
Do you want the
think
four?
it was Milan.
So if you don't know, I'm giving you age of these players.
Hang on, wait. Let me have a look. And then Gus Hiddink. I think that's got to be. So I'm thinking it's an English player. Gus Hiddink, Roy Hodgson, and Fabio Capello.
Do you want the four?
Gary Cahill?
No, it's not Gary Cahill. Do you want the four?
Okay. Yeah.
Wayne Bridge, Roberto Carlos, Wayne Rooney, or Glenn Johnson.
Okay, let me try and can I do power of deduction?
Yeah.
Sherlock. Okay, so Roberto Carlos, Roy Hodgson, Inter, Capello, Madrid. Was Gus Hiddink in charge of Anzi Mecklenburg in Russia? Oh, I think he was. I'm going to leave that there. Wayne Bridge. No, he hasn't played under Roy Hodgson. No. So that one cancels out. Who was the other, sorry?
Wayne Rooney and Glenn Johnson.
Wayne Rooney, Roy Hodgson, yeah. Capello, yeah. Gus Hiddink, no. Glenn Johnson's, Roy Hodgson, yeah. Capello, yeah. Hiddink. Oh, Hiddink's first stint. Fuck. So I've got Hiddink or Roberto. No.
You got Glenn Johnson or Roberto Carlos.
Yeah, Glenn Johnson or Roberto Carlos. I think Hiddink. I don't know why in my head. Anzi Mecklenburg. He managed them in my head. I'm gonna go Roberto Carlos.
2 for 2, mate. That's outstanding. I went Glenn Johnson.
Oh yes.
I went Glenn Johnson because I knew I had Hiddink with the Chelsea links, and then I thought Glenn Johnson would have been at Liverpool at the time, wouldn't he? But no, Roberto Carlos 2 from 2. Fair play.
So did Hiddink manage Anzi Mecklenburg?
Must have been. I'd assumed Gus Hiddink would have managed Madrid at some stage, just because he's one of those managers. But okay, next one.
I want to know that now. Sorry, I can't end it. I need to know where did Hiddink manage. I would have thought your undying love for Hiddink. I thought you would have known.
I do love Hiddink as well.
Anzi, yes, get in 2012, 2013.
Yeah, for about 5 minutes as well, I bet.
Yeah, but in my head, I don't know why I just had it. That's an outstanding quiz round from me.
Yeah, so I prefer the Rodrigo one. I think that's more impressive.
The fact that I didn't even have the names for that.
I know. The next one. I've won the African Cup of Nations Golden Boot. I've played alongside Nathan Ake. And I have scored against Arsenal. So I got this one right as well. I got the first two wrong, but I got this one right.
African Cup of Nations Golden Boot alongside Nathan Ake. Nathan Ake, oh, that's a Vitesse little bastard thing, isn't it? And I've scored against Arsenal. What was the first one?
African Cup of Nations Golden Boot winner.
Wilfred Boney.
No.
Oh, you're joking! I thought the Vitesse loan system would have got me.
When we played in Nathan Ake?
Vitesse, I was thinking.
No,
I didn't know if Nathan Ake went or no.
He was the only player who didn't.
Oh no, he didn't. He was the only because he came on at 16. Okay, that was a stupid answer. Ignore that.
Do you want the 4?
Yeah, give me the 4.
Igalo, Solomon Kalou, Sadio Mane, and Max Gradle.
Okay, Max Gradle has played in the African Cup of Nations. He did really well one year. He's played with Nathan Ake. And he has scored against Arsenal. I don't know if he won the Golden Boot. Who was the others?
Sadio Mane, Solomon Kalou.
I don't think Sadio Mane's played with Nathan Ake.
Solomon Kalou and Igalo.
Solomon Kalou it could be. Obviously played with Solomon Kalou at Chelsea. Oh, was he too young? That was a Rafa stage. When did Solomon Kalou go to Hertha?
Ake played in the Champions League final, just so you know. No, Europa League final.
I was going to say, no, but didn't. Bertrand did. Europa League, okay. Golden Boot, though. Okay, give me the 4 again, sorry. Give me the
Igalo, 4. Kalou.
Yeah, no,
Mane,
not him.
Gradle.
Okay, it's Kalou or Gradle. Kalou has scored against Arsenal. I'm going to go... Gradle did really well one year in the African Cup of Nations, and I'm sure he scored against Arsenal. I'm going to go Gradle.
Igalo.
Oh, Igalo!
Martin Igalo.
When did he play with Igalo? Oh, Watford! Louis, you stupid man! I was like, he hasn't played with Igalo, he hasn't played in China, he hasn't played at United.
That was my one.
Of course. That's a good one, that.
Yeah, so next one. I've played for one club across 2 separate spells. I've scored in an FA Cup final. And I've only scored 2 international goals.
That could be a lot of players, to be fair.
Yeah, so I'll give you the 4 straight away for this one.
Yeah.
So it's David Luiz, Andy Carroll, Diego Costa, and Paul Pogba.
It's Diego Costa.
It's Andy Carroll.
No!
It's Andy Carroll.
I thought Diego Costa had a dreadful record for Spain. That's what
he does, but I think he scored more than 2.
Andy Carroll FA Cup final?
Liverpool. I think he must have scored for Liverpool in the FA Cup final. It's the only thing I could think. Or West Ham, maybe? That year with Alan... No, that's Palace, isn't it? Yeah, Andy Carroll must have scored an FA Cup final ago. I did Pogba, was my guess.
No, I know Pogba scored... I think he scored more than 2 international goals.
Yeah.
And I don't think he scored an FA Cup final. Andy Carroll. I definitely would have gone with Diego Costa.
2 more. So I got this one right as well. I've played under Jose Mourinho. I've played for Real Madrid. And I've never been sent off. Mesut Ozil.
Yeah.
Marcus Alonso. Fabinho or Juan Mata.
It's Fabinho.
Yeah, it is that one. That was quite an easy one.
Yeah.
Easiest of a lot, I reckon.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one, last one, final one.
Yeah. So what am I on now? 3 out of 5, is it?
3 out of 5, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was 3 out of 5, wasn't it?
Can I get bonus points for not even having the 4 on the Rodrigo one?
No, you've only got 2.
Surely that's a bonus
You've only
point.
got 2. You got 2 out of 4.
What do you mean?
You got Igalo wrong, and you got Andy Carroll wrong.
Yeah, I got the first 2 right.
Oh yeah, 5. Yeah, sorry, I forgot what 3 one.
Yeah. So can I get a bonus point for the Rodrigo one?
No, you can't.
Surely.
No.
What do you mean?
Okay, last one then.
Yeah.
I've made over 100 appearances for my country. I was signed by my current club on a free transfer. And I've reached only 1 Champions League final.
Can I ever go before?
Yeah.
Over 100 appearances.
Because when I give you the 4, it makes it harder. It does make it harder.
Okay, I've got 2 in my head. So if the 2 of them are in the 4, then you can tell me the 4 and I still have to guess between the 2, if that makes sense.
Okay.
I've got... It might not be either of these. It's the country appearances thing that maybe might be the downfall on this. Oh no, one of them I don't think has reached a Champions League final. I'll just say it anyway. I think in my head I'm thinking Willian or Thiago Silva.
Okay. Neither of them.
Oh wow, okay. Interesting.
Zlatan, Diego Godin, Arturo Vidal, or Robert Lewandowski. Horrible that. Isn't
Okay. Signed for my current club on a free transfer. So Godin free transfer to Cagliari, recent. Is it Cagliari? Genoa? Can't remember. Might not even be either of them. Vidal, 1 million he cost, so not a free transfer. Who was the 4th one?
Zlatan and Lewandowski.
Both free transfers. Over 100 minutes and reached 1 Champions League final. Just say the names to me again, sorry. I keep forgetting.
We've got Lewandowski.
Yeah.
Godin. Arturo Vidal. And Lewandowski.
What? You said Lewandowski twice there?
No, Zlatan. Godin.
Oh, right, okay.
Vidal, Lewandowski.
Okay. Godin, I think, has reached 2 Champions League finals. I swear Atletico reached 2 Champions League finals in 3 seasons and lost them both. Lewandowski's won the Champions League, the Champions League at Bayern, and he also lost it at Dortmund, so he's definitely been at 2 Champions League finals. Vidal hasn't been at one with Barca. He was at one with Juventus, definitely. And it might have been the same thing, because they reached the final 2 times in 3 seasons and lost to Barca and Madrid both times. So that leaves me with Zlatan. 1 Champions League final, Zlatan. Yeah, I'm going to go Zlatan.
That's who I went for as well. It's Lewandowski. He was injured for the other final.
No,
Yeah.
that's such a horrible question.
Yeah, he was injured for the Dortmund one.
No way.
Yeah. So I went Zlatan as well for that one. I thought surely, but
in my head I was thinking Zlatan kept leaving just before they made it to the Champions League
he should have won about 6,
yeah.
shouldn't he? But
yeah.
And then I'm thinking, was the Champions League, was it with Ajax? Was he that far back? Surely not. No,
he's not that far back. No.
Yeah. So Robert Lewandowski.
Well, I'm disappointed in the end then, because what's that, 3 for 7, and I started off
3 for 6, 50% hit rate's pretty good.
6.
So what did I get? I
still think I should get a bonus point. I'm sorry. I'm
You're not having it.
appealing to the.
Yeah, I got 2 out of 6. I got 2 out of 6. You got 3 out of 6. So that's
fair.
That's my.
I feel like we should. I feel like we should make that like a weekly or bi-weekly thing, where we then keep up the total score. Always make it out of 6. Keep a total score on a spreadsheet, and then just like when we get like Joe Rogan and have like 1,500 episodes, you just have like I'm on 1,300,000 or whatever. It's just there forever.
Well, I'm still on 2 points at that point because my football knowledge and stuff like that is terrible. I'm good at the Wikipedia one, but I'm terrible at ones like that. Awful. Love the Wikipedia one.
I know that was good. I enjoyed that. That's another segment we can add in, then the Who Am I, and we can have the underrated, overrated every now and again as well. Good. Okay, so I think that wraps up the podcast for today. Thanks very much for listening. If you are still listening, hopefully we'll have this one out quite quickly, and you'll be able to listen relatively quickly after it's been recorded, so it's still relevant. We still will be releasing some clips and stuff from our old podcast that we recorded, so it might be a little bit out of date, but they're all good discussions. So have a look on the socials and follow us on everything that you can. I'm not going to add in the stupid thing of me saying the Absolute Football Podcast about 10 times this time. Just search the Absolute Football Podcast. It's not that hard. You can find us on literally anything. Just Google it. Everything comes up at once. Twitter, Facebook, YouTube, Instagram. Just find us, get in touch. We didn't have any listener questions this week, so idiot proof, Get in touch, give us some questions that you want us to answer. Lewis, obviously, the episode was only released yesterday, so Lewis didn't have a chance to listen and actually have a response to yours. So maybe we'll do that
Not
next
committed
time.
enough, Lewis. Not committed enough.
No, exactly. Yeah, haven't got 2 hours in your day to listen to pure
On a
liquid
Sunday.
gold.
On a Sunday as well.
But yeah, no, thanks very much for listening. We'll be back next week when maybe the transfer window would have closed potentially, or be sort of very close to closing. So yeah, listen in next time. We'll be doing our predictions for the Premier League table and the season ahead, and obviously just discussing football stories from around the world in general. So tune in next week. Speak to you soon and take care.